Hello and welcome to the Gun Locker. Now, for those of you that have seen my previous review, you'll know that I've been approached by a few manufacturers lately, and I'm very excited and pleased to say that one of those manufacturers is Vector Optics. They reached out to me a few weeks back, basically asking me whether I'd like to review their optics and their other products, because they don't just have one range, they have several brands within their umbrella. For me, it's a massive endorsement of the channel. It really is. They obviously see value to it, and for that I'm extremely proud, because it's taken a lot of hard work to get here. And to address the elephant in the room straight away, to answer some of the posts that have been planted on my channel by some people that aren't very nice. Basically, I'm not biased in any way towards these manufacturers, and I'm not going to be biased in any way towards Vector Optics. Okay, I'm not. What I'm going to do is give an honest review. Now, if you don't believe me, there's no point watching any further. Okay, so if you're one of those individuals, I'll say thank you very much and goodbye. Okay. If you do believe me, well, thank you very much, because at the end of the day, I don't want anything to affect the integrity of the channel. It's not what I've been working so hard towards. And you guys will know, if you've seen my previous videos, I call a spade a spade. If I think something's crap, I'll say it's crap. Now, some of you will say, well, you know, you've got a dud, because what I've got is excellent, well, it's fine. You know, that may well be the case. It may well be that, you know, the rifle that I have here in front of me is perfect, yet a similar rifle like this may not be. Okay, but all I can talk about is the item that's in my hands at that time. It's as simple as that. With regards to optics and accessories, and this is not going to be to do with rifles or firearms or anything like that, but purely optics and accessories, if I think they make the grade, I will add them to my store. Okay, again, on previous videos you will have seen in the titles, I do have a store that runs alongside the channel. It's called www.thegunlocker.store. Very easy, and on that you will see products that, in my mind, I think are worth the money. Okay, and just to explain how that store works, basically I don't handle any of the products, so if you order any of those products on that store, they will come to you direct from the manufacturer. Okay, it cuts out the middleman, it cuts out any chance of being handled, or you know that it's not going to be an ex demo or anything like that. It's just going to come straight to you from the manufacturer, and it will come to you with a manufacturer's warranty, which is a contract between you and them. Okay, not with me. So should anything happen with that product, you can then return it to the manufacturer, and they have a brilliant customer service that will, you know, sort you out should the need arise. So all of that to one side, and I'm going to tell you now, having handled this optic for a couple of 3 weeks, I've had to play around with it. I've kind of run it through its paces a little bit. I like it. You know, I do, and I think it meets the grade. So I've actually put this and their range on my store as a result. Now, as I, you know, get to use more and more of their products, if I feel that they're not up to standard, then I can easily remove those products as well. And if you guys have got any bad reviews, please let me know, because then I can share that amongst everybody else as well. So what is it that I've actually got here in front of me? Well, this is the Veyron. So it's, how can I say it? It's their classic optic, not the budget range, not the very low range, because that falls into a different brand, and it's not the highest premium range, because that'll be something like the Continental. For me, it's what I call a high-end budget optic. And by that, you know, you're paying more than £150 for it. This is actually retailing at about £180, £181, thereabouts. So yeah, high-end budget scope. It's not the many hundreds of pounds, and it's certainly not in the thousands. It's the Veyron 3-12x44IR SFP compact rifle scope. The IR stands for illuminated reticle, and the SFP, for those of you that don't know, stands for second focal plane. And there's a difference between second focal and first focal plane. The main difference is that with a first focal plane optic, basically as you increase the magnification, the reticle will increase in size alongside the magnification, and as you decrease it, it will decrease in size. I prefer second focal planes. I like my reticle to be fixed and to be as fine as possible, and that way I know that at distance it's not going to cover the impact, so I know exactly where that projectile has landed. Whereas if you've got a reticle that increases in size, then at distance it will cover a larger area, and so you may not be able to see the impact. I don't like that. It's just something that, you know, at the end of the day I cut my teeth basically on firearms shooting out a long way, and I put money into scopes that had very, very fine reticles, and that was important for me, and it stayed with me. Let me quickly talk to you about the features within the Veyron range. So the scopes are going to come with a 30mm tube. Now what that does is basically allows for more adjustment in elevation and windage, because there's more room, because there's basically more room for the mechanics within the body of the scope. The lenses themselves are fully coated, and that enhances clarity, brightness and sharpness. Now you'll see me looking down, it's because I've got my notepad here and I don't want to get this information incorrect. I want to be, you know, I want to give you a true picture, so excuse me if I'm going backwards and forwards, you know, and it may not be very concise, but at least all the topics are going to get covered. So with regards to the turrets on this scope, they're lockable. What that means is that in order to adjust them, you need to lift the turret up or away from the body, and then you can adjust the elevation up or down, and with each adjustment you can hear a defined click. It's not sloppy in any way. You can, I've got to say, it's precise, and that's exactly what you want. You don't want to be able to move that turret a bit and then hear a click, and then move some more and hear a click. It does what you'd expect it to do, and then when it's in its desired elevation, you simply pop that turret back down again and it's locked. It won't move, and that's the same for the windage side as well. On the front of the scope you'll see a honeycomb shade. Now I've not used one of these shades before. I tend to use tubular sunshades, but I've heard good things about them, and I will find out. Generally speaking, when I tend to shoot, you know, on my range, I've got the sun coming at me, so let's see whether it performs or not. I'll let you know. You also get, with the Veyron range, a pair of flip-up caps. Very, very handy. I like these, and what I will be doing is fitting this one to the front of this, but the back one I'm going to keep off, and the reason for that is that for the time being at least, I'm going to be fitting my ScopeMate S18 camera on the back of this optic so that you can see what I see with regards to the reticle and with regards to adjustment, magnification and parallax. What else can I tell you? Water resistance. Well, this is rated to IPX4. What that basically means is that it's resistant to water splashes and rain. Do not immerse this in water because it is not waterproof, okay? And with regards to fogging up, well, the scope has been purged with nitrogen, so that gives you a resistance towards fogging up of lenses, and also the formation of mildew and mold within the scope. As I say, it's not waterproof, so you will get moisture in there at some point. The nitrogen is going to prevent that mold and mildew from growing. It has a side focus parallax wheel, okay, and that goes from 10 yards to infinity, very smooth. And also on that turret you have your 6-gear illumination wheel as well, with an on-off switch between each level of illumination, and that's really, really handy because it means that you don't have to go through the whole 6 power options before you have to switch it off again. It's on, off, on, off, on, off. You know what I mean. Let me get down to the finer details of this scope in particular. So like I say, it's the 3-12 times. It's got a 44mm objective lens, second focal plane, and the eye relief is 85 to 90mm. So you've got a fair amount of distance there. Obviously, if you're a shorter individual, you're going to basically push the scope further forward because of your reach. And if you're a taller guy, longer arms, you kind of bring that a little bit closer because you're going to need to kind of, you'll find a fit anyway. You'll find a fit to suit you. But with 85 to 90mm, there's plenty of room there. The linear field of view out at 100 yards is between 35.1 to 8.7 feet. You'll note that the bigger number is first, and that relates to the lower magnification, so that relates to 2 times. Out at 12 times you'll only see 8.7 feet, and the metric equivalent to that is 11.7 to 2.9 meters at 100 meters. The angular field of view is 6.7 to 1.7 degrees, and the reticle itself is what they call an MPR-V10 etched glass reticle, and it's the center dot that's illuminated. Now this reticle is basically a Christmas tree style reticle, and I'm going to pop an image of that up now so you get to see it, but also you'll get to see it in the footage after I've gone through the tech specs. The click value on the turrets for adjustment is 1/10 of a mil. The total elevation and windage adjustment range is 17.5 mil, so that's both for elevation up and down and windage left and right. And the diopter compensations, so at the back of the Optic here you can adjust the focus on the reticle itself so that that image is nice and clear. And the range of adjustment is from -2 to +2. Now if you are an individual that needs more, then look to something like their Continental range, which will go from a -3 to a +2. But for most people this is perfectly adequate. I mean, it certainly works for me. I tend to shoot without glasses because I'm using an Optic, so there's no point putting another lens in front of my eyes, and there's plenty of adjustment here anyway. I can get that reticle crystal clear. The illumination is fed by a little penny battery or a button battery. It's a CR2032 battery. How long that will last, I have no idea until I start using it, and then obviously, guys, as I know, I'll let you know. And the whole unit, so the Optic itself, has been rated for shock resistance to 750 G. Now if I'm not mistaken, that will basically take you up to .338 caliber centerfire rifles. Okay, Vector Optics has basically designed this for lightweight firearms, for PCPs, for Springers, and for gas ram recoil air rifles. And you know, for what I want, it seems to be doing the job very, very well. The housing, so basically the body of the Optic is made from 6061-T6 aluminium alloy, and that's the alloy that they use throughout the whole of their range of scopes. Obviously it's finished in matte black. The length of the scope is 243mm or 9.6 inches, and it weighs in at 530 grams or 18.7 ounces. So it's compact, it's lightweight, and it's nice because you've got such a small optic the balance as a unit, you know, in its entirety is just perfect. It keeps it nice and close to the body. I like that. It just is, it's a nice bit of kit. It really is. What else do you get within the package? Well, obviously you have the box. It's nicely kind of protected when it arrives to you. You will receive a pair of 30mm 1.2 inch high mounts. Now, I've not used these, I've got my own mounts because I prefer them with regards to the ease of taking them on and off. This is more of a, once you've got it, you fix it in place and that's it, you're happy with it. You have a key that will help you to adjust the turrets. You have a manual, which isn't a lot, but it, you know, it says enough. It's simple as that. You have a lens cloth, and you also have, most importantly, a 5-year limited manufacturer's warranty. And basically, that will cover you for anything that goes mechanically wrong with the Optic, provided that you do not abuse it. Okay, so be sensible, and if you have any issues with it, get in touch with the manufacturer. That's what that warranty is for. And in all honesty, for a high-end budget scope, a 5-year warranty says a lot, because you're lucky if you get 12 months on most scopes nowadays. Right guys, that's basically the tech specs done. What I'm going to do now is show you footage of what you'll see through the scope, how it adjusts, the illumination, XYZ. Okay, so this is the magnification test. Basically what I'm doing is just looking at the building in the far distance. Now that building is 2,400 meters away, or 1.5 miles. What you need to bear in mind, guys, is that it is an extremely bright sunny day, and because it's November, that sun is quite low, so it is playing havoc with the ScopeMate S18, and light is bouncing back off the rear lens as I'm looking through the camera, so it's giving me a little bit of a milky image, and to boot I've got some heat haze to deal with as well. But what you can see here is me zooming in from 3 times to 12 times power. You can't really expect any more from this scope, not with that magnification range, but at least it gives you an indication as to what you'll see via it. And you also have a good image there of the reticle. Okay, so next up is the elevation adjustment. As you can see, the reticle is creeping upwards, and that's the amount of movement that you get basically per click on the turret. You can see here that the reticle has just kind of changed color there. It went from black to almost, I don't know, what would you call that, bronze color? Well, that's the effect of sunlight coming in and messing around with the optics inside the scope. You can also see that the image is fuzzy around the outside edge. I believe that's to do with a honeycomb shade. Now, guys, remember, I've got a very low sun to deal with, and it's coming in diagonally from my right-hand side. So it's playing havoc with the ScopeMate S18, and it's also playing havoc with the scope. I personally prefer the tubular type of sunshade as opposed to the honeycomb, but you know, in fairness, it is doing the job. You can see the image there, you can see the target, and would you be able to put the crosshairs on the target? Yes, you can. Okay, so as you can see now, I'm on with adjusting the windage. Pigeon just flew by there. Clicking to the right, as you can see, and then we'll start going over to the left, and we'll go from right all the way to left and then bring it back again. What I didn't do, and this is a failing on my part, is actually reset the scope for both elevation and for windage so that the exact midpoints on both, that's where I should have started the, I don't know, I guess the adjustment test. So you'd get a full indication, but you can see there how much travel there is from
right to left and then left to right, and then we're heading back in towards the center of the target. So finally we have the illumination test. Now the image is grainy because I put the scope about 3 foot away from a wall in a darkened part of the house. You can see the center reticle, the dot, is illuminating. I think that was power number 3. This is now number 4. Power level number 5. And then finally power level number 6. In normal daylight conditions, 1 to 3 aren't very visible. 4, 5 and 6 is where it comes into its own.
Hope you've enjoyed the video, and yeah, I'm going to finish on that note. Just wanted to say again, thank you very much for your support, and as always guys, if you're out there and you're shooting, look after yourself, look after the people that are around you, and be safe. Okay, so guys, thank you very much, and for now, bye bye.